$4. That is all it is. $4 for a coffee. Leo buys one every single morning. On the way to work. Without thinking. $4. $1,460. Every year. On coffee. And that is just year 1. Wait until you see what happens over 10 years. This video is a mathematical autopsy. And by the end of it you will never look at a $4 coffee the same way again. Leo's morning routine never changes. He wakes up. Gets dressed. Walks to work. And stops at the same coffee shop every single morning without fail. The barista knows his name, knows his order. Has it ready before Leo even reaches the counter. Leo does not think of this as a financial decision. It is just part of his morning. Like brushing his teeth or checking his phone. It costs $4. $4 is nothing. $4 is less than a bus fare. $4 is the price of being a normal functioning adult who gets through the morning. Leo has been buying this coffee for 3 years. He has never once sat down and calculated what that actually means. Because it is $4. Who sits down and calculates $4? Today we do it for him, and the number we find is going to change how Leo thinks about every small purchase he makes for the rest of his life. Let us do the math. Properly. No shortcuts. No rounding. Just the actual numbers of what Leo's $4 coffee costs him. Day 1. $4. Simple. Painless. Invisible. Week 1. $28. Still feels small. Month 1. $120. Now it starts to look like something. But Leo never thinks monthly. He thinks daily. And daily it is just $4. Year 1. $1,460. That is the first number that should stop Leo completely. $1,460. On coffee. In 12 months. That is a flight somewhere. That is 2 months of rent payments. That is an emergency fund. But wait, Leo has been buying this coffee for 3 years. So multiply that by 3. $4,380. Gone. Into a paper cup. Every morning. Without Leo ever once feeling like he was spending serious money. And we have not even got to the most painful number yet. Because this is not just about the money Leo spent, it is about the money Leo could have had instead. So why does Leo keep buying the coffee if the numbers are this clear? The answer is one word. Invisibility. Small spending is psychologically invisible in a way that large spending never is. When Leo buys a $500 phone, his brain registers it as a significant financial decision. He thinks about it for days before buying. He compares options. He waits for sales. Because $500 feels real and large and significant. But $4 bypasses every single one of those mental checkpoints. It is below the threshold where Leo's financial brain activates. It is what behavioral economists call below the pain threshold. Spending that is so small it produces no psychological resistance whatsoever. Companies discovered this decades ago. That is why subscription services charge monthly instead of annually. That is why apps charge 99 cents instead of $12 a year, even though they are exactly the same amount. They know that small frequent charges are psychologically invisible, and invisible charges never get cancelled. Leo is not buying a coffee. Leo is paying an invisible daily tax on his own psychology. And he has been paying it every single morning for 3 years without ever noticing. Now here is the number that changes everything. The 10-year number. If Leo continues buying his $4 coffee every single morning for the next 10 years, he will spend $14,600 on coffee. $14,600. But that is still not the real cost. Because that $14,600 could have been invested instead. At a modest 7% annual return, that $14,600 becomes over $20,000 in 10 years. $20,000. Built from a $4 daily habit. That Leo never even noticed he had. Let me make that real for Leo. $20,000 is a car. It is a down payment on property. It is financial security that changes what Leo can do with his life. Instead, it is 4,380 cups of coffee. Most of which Leo barely remembers drinking. Before we continue. Quick question. What is your $4 coffee? Not literally coffee. What is the small daily or weekly habit you spend on without thinking? The thing that feels so small you have never once calculated its annual cost. It might be a daily snack. A weekly takeaway. A streaming service you barely use. A parking fee. A vending machine habit. Whatever it is, take that daily or weekly cost and multiply it by 365. Then by 10. Drop that number in the comments right now. Leo wants to know he is not alone in this. This video is not telling Leo to stop drinking coffee. That is not the point. The point is visibility. Leo's coffee was invisible. Now it is not. And visible spending is spending you can make a conscious choice about. Leo now uses one single question before every small purchase. He calls it the annual question. Before buying anything small, he asks himself one thing. If I buy this every day for a year, how much does it cost me annually? $4 a day. $1,460 a year. Is this worth $1,460 of my annual income to me? Sometimes the answer is yes. Leo decided his morning coffee genuinely is worth $1,460 a year to him. It is part of his routine. It makes his morning better. He kept it. But he kept it consciously. Not invisibly. And that one shift changed everything about how Leo spends money on small things. He applied the annual question to 6 other small habits. 2 of them he canceled immediately. That saved him $800 a year. Money he now puts towards something real. Something that will still matter in 10 years. The coffee was never the problem. The invisibility was the problem. Now you have the annual question. Use it on everything small. Everything invisible. And watch how differently your brain starts treating the money that used to disappear without trace. Subscribe to Mind of Leo. Because next week Leo walks into one of the most satisfying traps on this list. The one that makes him feel smart and informed while spending more than ever. You have definitely fallen for this one. Everyone has. And drop your number in the comments. What is your $4 coffee and what does it cost you annually? Leo is waiting. See you there.